Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday morning here on the brand. This is Vince Russo. This is a bucket full of chicken necks. As you know, last week on the show, I was joined by the great star maker, Kenny Bolin. I told Mr. Bolin, you're a loose cannon, bro. You're more dangerous than Vince Russo and Brian Pillman combined.
Oh, my.
Forget you make Dean Ambrose look like Ronald McDonald. So we have to take this, Mr. Bolin, on a week-by-week basis because you're out of control. I got to see if I can put somewhat of a leash on you. We did last week's show. Very, very successful show. Not only was it a very successful show, business is one thing. I had a ball with Mr. Bolin. I think this show is right up his alley. So Mr. Bolin is back this week. The man you love to love, the man you love to hate, and he is joined by his beautiful daughter-in-law, the lovely Maya. How you doing, Mr. Bolin and Maya?
Well, it's been a very tough week, and this is the first, other than when I thank the fans for their support, this is the first thing on camera that I've done since my mother's passing, and you have been very supportive to me in that. A few others have reached out that I didn't expect to hear from, and one person didn't reach out that I did expect would, and I'm probably going to cover that at a later date. This is not the forum for it, but it's time to get back to normal, get back to business, so to say. And I think you're probably a little bit shocked I was going to do the show today because we haven't even buried Mom yet. That comes up Saturday, but the fans have just been unbelievably supportive. Maya and Chris have been unreal. They've been rocks for me, and we're chugging along. And boy, when you don't expect it, man, it hits you hard. I mean, when you got a little bit of time to mentally prepare, that's one thing. But we didn't have that, and I think I can handle anything. I found out I'm not as good at it as I thought it was.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Kenny, with stuff like that, I mean, the truth is you can never be prepared. Kenny, my mother suffered from Alzheimer's for a couple of years. And I mean, we always knew, inevitably the end was near. And even knowing that, you don't prepare. I mean, yeah. Kenny, listen, man, you don't replace parents, man. That's just how it is. It's something you're never ready for.
Because I tried to replace her about 15 times while she was alive, and it never worked. So
yeah. Well, Mr. Bolin, I really, really do appreciate you joining us today.
Happy to be here.
And I saw Chris made a cameo. He was hanging out in the middle there, but now he left. So now it's just you and the lovely.
No. That was Two Cow.
Oh, okay.
That was not.
I got confused. Okay.
That was Two Cow.
All right.
Now, he's very supportive as well, and he is an emotional care dog. He's just doing his job.
And he's a beautiful dog, your dad. Okay, guys, I got to address something up front. And Maya helped me with this, and I think Maya helped me with this, and I think Mr. Bolin, I may loosen the leash to let you cut some promos on this.
Thank you.
Maybe if we open up the show with just letting
a little bit over here with you.
Let's open up the show with just letting Mr. Bolin loose. Let him get maybe a nice little promo out of his system, and then we'll go on with the topics of today.
Before we go any further, you may not want to do that because I've been cutting promos on the stupidity of my family.
You're so good
on anyone that will listen.
Oh my God! And bro, you mean to tell me you of all people didn't get that on camera?
Oh God! I told Maya, I said, "Honey, these are shows. Why did we not record these?"
Oh my God! Yeah.
Oh, there'd be nobody in my family speaking to me.
That was probably his best material in 20 years.
She sat on that sofa and laughed at every the cremation facility, the science people that wanted me to donate Mom's body to science. God, can you name them all?
Every single person in your family. He told, I think it was Bobby. He said, "Bobby, you're the smart one of the bunch." And of course, that's a very low bar.
Family has not enjoyed talking to me the past several days.
Oh my God!
I hope you give me something I can go off on.
Yeah, well, I can, because Mr. Bolin, I know you are not a big fan of these Twitter warriors and these snowflake warriors and all these righteous people. here's what happened, you guys. I want to tell you how this, what happened and what this turned into. Okay.
Okay.
Now, Maya, I don't know if you watch the current product of WWE at all.
Unfortunately, sometimes I catch a glimpse.
A little bit.
Okay. There is this female on Monday Night Raw. Her name is Ruby Riott. Okay.
Mhm.
I swear to God, her and Jeff Lane could be identical fraternal twins.
I saw the evidence of it.
Yeah, I mean that seriously. Like the minute I saw her, I'm like, oh my God, like, is that Jeff Lane and Greg?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I swear to God, immediately I was like, holy crap. So that's been the running gag. I accuse Jeff Lane of doubling for Ruby Riott. You know, I mean, the whole 9 yards. It's been a running gag. Okay.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Even back on my days on the show, it's been going since then.
So Maya, last night after Raw, one of our listeners sends me a picture of the new faction, you know, Absolute, I think they're called.
Absolution.
Yeah. Absolute's the vodka. Sends me a picture of Absolution. They photoshopped Jeff Lane's head
They did.
on Ruby Riott's body.
Yep.
Maya, I saw this and I popped. You know, the guy
one of the greatest photoshops I have. If it's a Photoshop, if it is, I suspect it may not.
The guy, the guy went through the trouble of doing this. I saw it. I popped immediately, like without thinking twice. Like I just retweeted the photo. You know, and I said, I told you, you know, unfortunately, you know, Jeff forgot to shave for this photo.
He did. He forgot which character he was being during that photo shoot.
So Maya, I think nothing of it because I thought it was freaking hysterical that somebody did this. Maya, of course, this was late last night. I wake up this morning to, you know, you should die. You're a piece of crap. What a piece of shit you are. You SOB, drop dead, jump off a bridge over a picture, Maya, that was, first of all, it was comedic. It had nothing to do with freaking Ruby Riott. I've never insulted Ruby Riott once. I just said,
who, by the way, went to OVW, which I forgot because she didn't have that name when she was here. But Chris said she was here and that he remembered working with her. And remembered her being a nice person. And I said, Chris, I do not remember her at all. And then when he told me what her name was, I recalled her being here.
Yeah.
So what exactly were they pissed about?
They took it. Of course, Maya, they take it like they want to take it.
Right.
They took it as me wanting to insult Ruby Riott. It had nothing to do with freaking Ruby Riott.
Jeff Lane to say that comparing them is an insult to Ruby. That is so mean. I mean, he's a fairly good-looking guy.
I'm not sure who should be insulted out of this. I don't know. That's kind of a coin toss.
Do you mind if I bring up the picture? I have not seen this lady yet.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Forgive me.
Kenny, is there any way you could pick up the show? Is there any way you could show her the picture plus the one I tweeted?
Yeah, she's going down. There it is. That's it. Okay, she's looking.
Yeah. Now, Maya, seriously, how do you not freaking laugh at that? I'm not making fun of Ruby Riott,
and I'm not sure it's photoshopped. I'm looking at it here on a 55-inch computer screen.
Okay.
So Kenny, of course, I wake up this morning as I'm preparing for the show. I'm muting, I'm blocking, I'm muting because you know I should jump off a bridge because I put up that photo.
She just brought up about 100 images of her and she's dying.
I don't think I'd ever seen her, and comparing the two pictures, my lord, it is just hilarious.
Exactly right. That's all. A little comedy, a little lightheartedness.
I'm glad she's here because I couldn't have done what she just did because I just,
You couldn't have Googled her?
Well, not while doing this with him. I would have been scared out of
20 years on the internet. You have learned nothing.
Not much.
So
You're not here to insult me.
What do you think about people suggesting I jump off a bridge and kill myself because I retweeted that photo?
I commented. I don't know if you saw my comments today because I read it and it's the first thing I wake up to. And I'm now preparing to get ready to do your show. And obviously, I don't rehearse. We don't know what we're going to talk about till I show up here. And I'm thinking this has to be discussed, because here I've been spending since last Friday dealing, excuse me, dealing with real death. And it's not pretty. It's not fun. And then I wake up, and because Vince makes a comment on a supposedly photoshopped picture, I think the jury's still out on that, that they want him to kill himself. And I made the comment like, come on, guys, here, you want Vince dead because he made a comment on a possibly photographed picture, but you won't even go through the trouble to kill Vince yourself like others have suggested in the past. You want him to do your job for you. You want him to commit suicide. You want him to jump off a bridge, maybe commit Harry Carey, who was a great announcer, by the way. I just cannot fathom the fact that a possibly I want to use the word possibly because I'm not sure, a possibly photographed picture that you want this man that I'm staring at right now on the screen, a loving, caring man, called me 3 times before anyone else did to check on me on how I was doing with my mother, and you want him to die over his comments on a picture. You people are sick. You people are the one that needs to be jumping off bridges. You people are the ones that need to be committing Harry Carey. You people are the ones that need to be going to an all-you-can-eat buffet and just eat till you, I almost used the word, kill over. You people got something wrong with you. You people are mental deficients. You people shouldn't have the internet. To wish death on a Christian-loving man who's one of the most kindest and dearest men I've ever known in my life. Yeah, we're a little controversial. Yeah, we talk. We crossed the line, and I look for the line and just see how far I can get over it. But to wish death over a picture, analyze that, folks. Analyze what you said. Maya's very vocal and very opinionated. Maya, do you have anything to add to this? To somebody that would wish this man dead because he thought a picture was funny?
Actually, I was about to say I totally agree with you. We have had this discussion before when Brian Last was saying that it's okay to threaten you. And I was saying that it's, in my opinion, crap to threaten anyone over anything because they don't think about the effects of such terrible, aggressive threats. But on the other hand, are they offended for Ruby or for Jeff?
We're not sure.
Because I would understand if they were offended for Jeff. She's not the prettiest. She looks pretty rough. And I'm not saying that she's ugly and nobody should like her.
She is a living, breathing human
I'm just
being,
saying that it's a joke, and people live on memes. Memes are the new marketing strategy. So I don't know why anyone would get offended over this. And even more, you have comedy shows. Kenny has comedy shows. Your entire Twitter is basically comedy and some wrestling. Why would anyone go through your Twitter not looking for comedy? Why would anyone see that and not see that as a meme?
Ridiculous. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the topic.
I thought I did well there. I held back.
Very well. Okay, guys, listen, here's something. Like, I just want to discuss this with both of you. You know, you're going to learn Maya real quick. I am not a Kardashian fan. They are everything I despise. Yeah, they are everything I despise. And the only one that has a chance with me is Kendall, because Kendall kind of keeps her mouth shut and she wants to be like a runway model, and she works hard and she stays away from the other ones. She's the only one I like.
You know all this.
She's kind of like an honorary Ryzen. She keeps her mouth shut and just stays off in the distance.
That's it. That's all she is.
Are associated with the other ones.
Yeah. Now, Maya and Mr. Boland, you know, there has been talk for years and years and years and years that there is some speculation that Khloe, you know, is not a full-blooded Kardashian. And the rumor has been out there for years that O.J. Simpson screwed around with Kris Jenner because O.J. Simpson was friends with Kris Jenner's husband. Rumor has been out there for years that there was an affair and there was intercourse between O.J. Simpson and Kris Jenner, and Khloe Kardashian was the product of that because Khloe Kardashian does not look like the other Kardashians. The Kardashians have a specific look, even Rob, the boy, and Khloe does not look like the rest of them. So there's been a lot of speculation out there for years and years and years. Okay, as you know, OJ was just released from prison. So now, of course, TMZ, the paparazzi, they're all over O.J. Simpson, right? So, of course, now they're bringing up the same question to O.J. Is Khloe Kardashian your daughter? And, you know, O.J.'s giving it the old, oh, I don't know anything about that. I have one question to ask, Maya, and answer this like from a woman's perspective, right? With all this controversy, and it's been going on for years and years and years, and Khloe is constantly being hounded over this. Now OJ's out. They're gonna hound OJ. If OJ is not Khloe Kardashian's father, they can end that real quickly. All it takes is a simple DNA test, put the story to bed, and
You're
it's
never gonna get done. You're never gonna get done.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. You know, Maya, that to me, that has guilt written all over it. Because if they needed the attention and if they needed the exposure, they they would continue to let it be a secret. So everybody talks about it and speculates. But obviously, they don't need that. Obviously, they don't need the attention. They don't need the exposure. They don't need the publicity. They already got that. So the fact that a simple DNA test would solve this and they won't do it, to me, that's got guilt written all over it. What do you think?
I personally think that if you're going to see the DNA test, it's going to be like the season finale of the show. Because those people, that has PR written all over it. If they want the controversy, it's just like how they constantly get pregnant and then they lose the baby or they're not pregnant and so on and so forth, how somebody gets divorced or leaves somebody in the season finale. I think they're waiting for that drama.
That sounds like a reality show.
Really? You don't say. Yeah. Sounds like a Rising show if you ask me.
All right.
Have we bashed your family enough?
Not yet.
Not yet. I'll leave that up to you. Yeah, to me, if we're going to see something, my question is more if they are going to have a DNA test, and it comes back negative, how much popularity are they going to lose? How's it going to affect the show? I doubt they're going to have a DNA test. If they are going to have one, it's going to be like the season finale. They lose the evidence or something, and it just all gets dropped. If they're going to use it, they're just going to use it for the show. But if it does come back, and let's say it comes back positive, is OJ going to be part of the show? There's like a lot of questions to this. And I just have to say, go ahead.
I've got
you got late breaking news.
I got some information here.
Did you hear about this?
Did you hear about this? I did get a tip, and I've got some inside research on this. And it turns out that Khloe Kardashian, when in high school, I won't reveal the high school because they'll be flooded today if I do. That Khloe Kardashian once in a female flag football game rushed for 288 yards, threw for 312, had 4 interceptions, scored 7 touchdowns in one ball game. Powerful evidence we need.
There you go. Now, Mr. Billionaire is
about that.
Now, Mr. Billionaire is also a rumor that has been circulating the last couple of weeks on the worldwide interweb. That you may be the legitimate father. You may be the legitimate father of Jeff Lane / Ruby Riott. Is there any truth to that?
The father of Ruby Riott
/ Jeff Lane.
Yeah, Jeff Lane does not deserve that.
Well, let me do some math here. I'm 57. Ruby, do we have an age on Ruby? All right, give me 1 second.
I bet you Ruby is 24.
Hers the Joker wouldn't claim to be father.
She's
of this
terrifying
kid.
looking.
24 years old, I would guess Ruby is.
27.
She's 5.
20, wow, 27. Okay.
5'4", 122 pounds, 27 years old. I'm 57. I would have been 30 when I was in 30. I lived in Marietta, Georgia.
There you go.
Your neck of the woods.
You want to squash? No truth to that rumor.
There was a black preacher's daughter that wasn't her.
Very nice, Mr. Bowling. All right. Here's where I get Maya. Here's where I get in trouble with Mr. Bowling. Keep your eye on it, Mr. Bowling. All right, listen, Maya. Listen, this next topic. You have to promise me, Maya, if he starts going off the deep end, you're going to give him an elbow to the short ribs. Just promise me that. Because any time I want to bring up a topic with the word president in it, I'm scared to death. I'm scared to death.
I may have to elbow her.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to control myself, but
Maya, I'm gonna bring up the word president. Mr. Bowling knows this is kind of a rule on the show. I don't want to go down the Donald Trump, not because I'm a Donald Trump guy. I don't want to deal with people. I just don't want to hear it. But Maya, I got to tell you something. This is something, and I said this a couple of months ago pertaining to The Rock, who I really admire and like very, very much.
Right.
The latest thing now, Mr. Bolin and Meyer, is, here's the latest craze now. Oprah Winfrey is running for president in 2020. They've already started making Oprah 2020 merch, the whole 9 yards. I got to tell you, Maya, I'm not a political guy. I try to stay away from it. I've never been a political guy.
Told me that years ago when I tried to drag you down that alley. You wouldn't go.
I am so sick of people like The Rock and people like Alec Baldwin and people like Oprah Winfrey, like throwing their hat in the ring like anybody can be president. You got a talk show, you a president. You wrestled Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania, you could be the president. I'm so sick and tired of these people. Like they send a message out there that just anybody can be president. I mean, it sickens me, man. Because
hand me that silver platter that Vince just served this up to me on. Can you hand me the silver platter?
Give me.
Okay, you go first.
I agree with you. On the other hand, I have to say that this can of worms was kind of opened with the current president. I'm not going to get into that.
There goes my platter.
That is somebody who went in with a reality TV show. But I agree with you. I also believe that if you're going to get into politics, you need experience in politics and local government and so on and so forth. You need to show a resume. Now, I don't think that applies to all of those candidates. The Rock, for example, is a very intelligent guy. And there's lots of celebrities that have proven themselves in politics. For example, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was, I believe, the governor of California, and he proved himself to be very successful. So I think that if they can show a good plan of policy and a good cabinet for the future, we need to judge them based on that, on the material. I think that in the last election and in other elections, also in other countries, a lot of times people are judged on how they say things rather instead of their material, their policies, and so on and so forth. And I think that the more celebrities put their input into this, the less of a chance we have to. Because who are you going to vote for between Oprah? Who else is it? Oprah, The Rock, and
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, America's dad.
Yeah.
How are we supposed?
How do you not vote
them?
For Tom Hanks?
How do you not vote for Oprah?
Man in the world, exactly.
Well, if it were up to you, Mr. Bolin, you'd name that ridiculous volleyball the vice president, for crying out loud.
I would. I certainly would. More qualified.
Mr. Bolin, what's your take on this?
Maya kind of opened the can of worms a little bit. She peeked in, saw the head of the worm, and closed it back up. But that is what everybody's defense is right now. I watch, as you all know, I don't even watch real television anymore. I stay glued to CNN and MSNBC because every hour something happens better there than I'm going to see on any television show. I've never been that way in my life. I've never gave a damn about a press conference. Never cared who the Speaker of the House was. Just didn't care. But now all of a sudden, it's all I think about. It's all I watch. It's all I do. Because you can ask Maya and Chris. They come in. It's either CNN or MSNBC, or even I'll peek over at Fox News from time to time.
We've started calling our stray dogs names of, what is it, failed Trump cabinet members.
All the stray dogs get that name. Because obviously they disappointed somebody somewhere along the line to become the stray dog. So that's the names they get. But that was what they were trying to bash Oprah about immediately. Well, she's just a talk show host. She's just this. But she is a businesswoman. She is business. That was what Trump ran on. And they said, well, if she runs, that proves anybody can be president. Well, we've already done that because there's no way against the 17 people that Trump ran against that he should be the one that won. But he somehow, either by accident or on purpose, he found the core that was going to get him in. And unfortunately, that was a lot of white nationalists. That was a lot of racists. The KKK has stood up for him. A lot of people that I despise put him into the White House. So that's why my feelings are so strongly against him. As you and I both know, we don't stand up for this womanizing crap. And 20 women have come out and said he did. So I don't want to go too much on that, but he opened the door to anybody can be president, because the qualified people didn't make it. He did. He was not qualified. He had not the resume. He had filed countless bankruptcies. He's not the successful businessman everyone thinks he is. My dear friend Mark Cuban was asked by Stephen Colbert, is Trump really a billionaire? He said, yeah, if I loan him $500 million. And that was his answer. And Mark Cuban would know. Mark Cuban sold garbage bags door to door, and created, you might remember, what was it, Broadcast One? It wasn't Podcast One, but he sold a broadcast company that kind of got this thing going, and that's where he made his billions at, and that's continued to grow. But Trump has opened the door that it don't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what your political background is. What matters are your views. And where they say where Oprah will now no longer be the darling of the world is when she says how she feels about gun control, when she says how she feels about abortion, when she says how she feels about Social Security. And when all those things get factored in, now, okay, the gun control, we don't like her now. The abortion, but we don't like her now. And that's where it separates. And Trump somehow manipulated just enough people to win the what do you call it? Not the popular vote, but the
electoral vote.
The electoral vote. And I don't know that he did that on purpose. Many, many people say that he had no clue he was going to win, that he was just doing this for publicity. He was just doing it to elevate the interest in his show that was dropping in the ratings. And
all right, wait.
I felt something there.
Mr. Boland, listen, I'd like to make it, since we got Tom Hanks, the volleyball running for the vice president chair.
Volleyball is more qualified.
Alec Baldwin. I'd like to make a suggestion.
Hang on, by the way, this right here, this is Chocodile.
What a beautiful
Chocodile is just as qualified as what's running the country right now. She is a little loving lab pit.
Mr. Boland, I'd like to throw a name in the ring.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm going to give you this trademark free of charge. I don't want any royalties.
Oh, good for that.
Boland 2020.
There is a meme already made. Have you seen it? Did you hear about this? There's someone has made a meme wanting me and Cornette to run for. Now this was before the demise.
You just lost my vote. All right, let's go on to the next
one already.
Maya, help me with that, because I don't know if you saw
what if he were vice president? Do I still lose you?
You lost my vote. I don't know, Maya. I don't know if you or Mr. Boland saw this, because I know with everything going on right now, it's tough. Did you see Oprah's Golden Globes speech?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you both did. Okay, Maya, I got to tell you something. I saw Oprah's
a new day.
Yeah, it's a new day. Time's up movement. The whole 9 yards. Mike, can I tell you what really bothers me about this?
Go ahead.
Listen, I'm all for Me Too. I'm all for, time's up. I'm all for all this stuff, bro. Whatever I got to tell you, I just watched the DVD, just came out, man. It just came out Tuesday. I rented it yesterday as the day came out, and I watched it. It's called The Battle of the Sexes. It's when Billie Jean King played Bobby Riggs. In that tennis match.
Being as caught up in that as anything ever.
Oh my God. And I got to tell you, man, it made me look at Billie Jean King in a whole different light. What she stood up for, the pressure that was on her, carrying the weight of every woman in the country on her shoulders, and to go out and perform the way she did. I mean,
had she come out then? Because I honestly don't remember.
No, she hadn't.
I didn't think she.
No,
I don't, because that would have been real big news.
Yeah, and that was so iconic, the way she stood up for all women. She didn't just talk about it, she did it. She had everything to lose. National TV, the whole 9 yards. So, I'm just getting off of watching what Billie Jean King did. So, there's Oprah up there, Time's Up movement, and, Me Too.
I'm proud of you for getting into that and seeing that true story.
Yeah, great
Bob
story.
Was a bit of an ass.
Yeah. But, he was a bit of a harmless ass. He was harmless, I think.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
I agree with you there.
But here's my thing as I'm watching all this that's really starting to bother me as a man. It just really is. I feel like, you're starting to paint the picture now of every guy's a scumbag. The few apples, spoil the bunch. First of all, in Hollywood alone, There are thousands of male executives in the entertainment business. Thousands. There are hundreds of television stations and entertainment pockets and producers and directors. Thousands. All right. There are some rotten apples. There are some rotten apples in the freaking wrestling business. But you know, when Oprah goes up there with, you know, the time's up, time's up, time's up. We're not all scumbags, man. I mean, there are decent guys out there that want women to do well and reach their potential. And I'm just getting sick of looking like, you know, all guys are guilty of this. What do you think, Maya?
I want to mention that I believe when she said time's up, and forgive me, it's been a while since I watched the speech. I wasn't really paying attention, but I believe when people say time's up and Me Too and that kind of stuff, they're also talking about the men who don't speak up. And I think that is that's personally my main problem, because I don't have a lot of experience with terrible men. I have some, but I don't have a lot of experience with it. I have more experience with men who tell me that it's in my head, that you know, that it's okay that somebody touches me or somebody hits me because they just want my attention. And I think that's a lot more difficult for us to accept, because that's going into the next generation. Even if the next generation is seeing that rapists and people accused of sexual misconduct are facing consequences on TV, they are still taught certain things in school. Like, for example, when a little boy hits a little girl, it's like, no, boys show affection that way. That's still wrong. Boys shouldn't get away with beating other people. So it's stuff like that. This is a really minor example, but it's stuff like that I think we're calling out. And I also think that sexism, it changes with each generation, it changes in each culture, and it started out with traditions and, you know, sometimes even scientific research saying that women aren't human or women are less than men, and all of that has changed, of course. And I think right now we are in the stage of not necessarily abuse and traditions, but laziness. I think there's a lot of men that are sick of hearing Me Too and that kind of stuff, because they're not bad, they're really not bad. But there's stuff that they could change, for example, speak up. And I think there's the same thing with women. As a feminist, you need to stand up for both genders and make them both equal. And I believe that there's lots of women that force stuff on boys and stuff on men who is what is simply wrong. For example, telling, you know, raising men to be tougher than women, that kind of stuff. That's not fair. Like, men are not supposed to cry. There's no crying in baseball and that kind of stuff.
I'm screwed if that rule gets implemented.
Right, exactly. Like, everybody's allowed to cry. I think that that's crap, personally. And I think that a lot of women are just as guilty. Sorry to open up the can of worms, but almost 50% of white women voted for Trump, somebody who was accused of sexual misconduct and other things. And that just tells me that women are turning the other way too. So I think it's unfair to just put it on men. And I think that the conversation needs to open up more. I think this is on men and women alike.
And it does go both ways. We haven't seen one case yet to where the man has come and said, well, I was going to lose my job if I didn't do this. Why he's going to be labeled as the biggest candy ass on the planet Earth when he does.
Exactly. For example, in the military, every 16 seconds, a person is sexually harassed.
That is amazing.
Every 16 seconds in the U.S. military. And we know, obviously, that the military is mostly men.
And they're getting by with it 99% of the time.
And most of men have trouble with the VA system, with the healthcare system for veterans, because when they go into therapy, they are not able to say that they were sexually mistreated, because that would make them look gay, and they can't take that. That would make them look weak, and they can't take that. Their whole lives, they've been told that they just have to take things. They can't cry. They can't admit to pain and failure, and that causes, I mean, a part of mental instability and the drama for the family. It can cause drug addiction, alcoholism, and, you know, much more. It's just ridiculous that we would, you know, not change our views and raise the next generation to be so harsh when it has no profit.
Well, you know, but see, Mari, that's the thing. Like, I'm going to tie this in with something that just happened today. And this is what I mean. It's like, you know, Oprah, you know, goes out there and gives this speech, and we're all giving it a standing ovation and the whole nine. Yeah, like, good for Oprah, like, whatever, good for Oprah. But then, like, right off the heels of this, this is what happens.
The guy that won the Oscar?
No.
Okay.
You guys know Kevin Spacey was in a movie that's out now called All the Money in the World.
Absolutely.
And who was he portraying again?
He was portraying a Southerner, and I forget the whole thing, but
was it John Paul Getty?
Possible.
I don't remember.
A Southern guy with money, I believe.
Okay, but anyway, okay, they made this movie. Kevin Spacey was in the lead role. All the money in the world. They shot the movie. The movie was complete.
Yeah.
The word came out about Kevin Spacey. So the director in the movie, actually replaced Kevin Spacey in the movie, with a new actor. It's escaping me who replaced him now.
Think of his name.
Yeah, and they shot all of Kevin Spacey's scenes over. Okay,
from the whole movie.
Yeah. So now here's what came out today, and right away, this is like everybody jumping all over the Ruby Riot thing. Okay, right away. Michelle Williams, who's a phenomenal actress, Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going.
Heath Ledger, Michelle Williams, and Mark Wahlberg were in this film as well. They had to reshoot scenes over. Okay, now they were both from the same agency. They had the talent agency, the same agents. They were from the same agency. When they went back to renegotiate their price to reshoot their scenes, okay, Mark Wahlberg wanted $1.5 million to go back and reshoot all the scenes over, okay? Michelle Williams got paid $1,000.
Slightly different.
Yeah, but hold on, so Maya, this is the story that comes out. So, oh my God, Michelle Williams gets 1% of what Mark Wahlberg got paid. Everybody's up in arms. This is exactly what Oprah's talking about. They were from the same agency, yada, 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 yada. Everybody's going ballistic now. Unfair to women, the whole 9 yards. Okay? Finally, they interview Michelle Williams. And they ask her about this. And here's exactly what she said. This was Michelle Williams' exact quote. I said I'd be wherever they needed me, whenever they needed me, and they could have my salary, they could have my holiday, whatever they wanted, because I appreciated so much that they were making this mass effort. So basically, Michelle Williams said, whatever you need me to do, I'll basically do it for free. Okay? Mark Wahlberg.
Being a good person.
First of all, he's a businessman. I mean, you can look at that television show, Wahlberg's, the guy, he's got a chain of these restaurants around the world. He's a businessman. You could tell he's not one of these guys that's going to do anything for free. So Mark Wahlberg, listen, bro, he's already got them over a barrel. Well, I mean, what are you going to do now? You're going to replace me and put another actor in there, or are you going to pay me my fee and I'll do? So Mark Wahlberg, being a businessman, said, yeah, I'll do it, but I'll do it for $1.5 million. That's my price if you want me to do it. And they paid him. Now, I say this all the time, Kenny. I marry this to professional wrestling. Jerry Jarrett told me a long time ago when I felt they were underpaying wrestlers. Jerry Jarrett said to me a long time ago, Vince, are you kidding me? They would pay us to be on our TV. So, so here Michelle Williams is basically saying, listen, you don't have to pay me. You want me to work holidays, whatever you want me to do, you can keep my salary. You don't have to pay me. So anybody in any business is going to say, okay, well, if you say so, then we won't pay you. It's a business. You're not going to pay somebody who says you don't have to pay me. But that's the problem I have, Maya. So Oprah gives a speech, and then right away, before listening to what Michelle Williams said or anything, here we go, inequality, men and women. That's what I mean. Something like that. You get back to those social media warriors that are just waiting to pounce on something before they have all the facts.
Yeah, who's at fault here? That's the question. Who's at fault? The people who just jump to conclusions before waiting for Michelle's response. And also, I think that the movie, the producers, I guess, that paid them are not at fault because you're right. They're businessmen. They're going to pay what they think is fair. I think that Michelle's not at fault felt. She stood up for what she felt is moral, and I think that speaks a lot.
And obviously a lot of good in her heart to say,
exactly,
hey, you know, whatever I can do, because I try to be that way at times.
Exactly. It shows what's in her heart and what she stands up for. I'd like to think that Mark Wahlberg would stand up for something else that he feels more passionate about the same way. Apparently he doesn't, so he took the money. I can't fault him either.
Yeah, they both got what they asked for
about his personality. That's the only thing.
They both got what they asked for. I don't know how you can throw any blame there.
Exactly. And apparently they were all fine with it. They had an agreement. It was signed by each party. So I can't fault him. You're right. He's a businessman. It's not a person I would want to be friends with, but I'm not going to go out and attack that person. It's simply a different decision that I would have made.
Now, back to the wrestling thing, because everybody always loves to hear a little bit of wrestling out of me and Vince whenever we do a show. And obviously, a lot of times we give them very little. Jerry Jarrett was exactly right. Wrestlers are to blame for whatever salaries they get. Danny Davis had a hatred in his heart for me at times because I was the one out of a cast of 70 some odd who refused to work for free. I put a value on what I was. I put a value on what I brought to the table, and I always asked to be compensated for that value. Now, would I do things for free? Yes, as long as in the realm of compensation, you remember me when dollars are coming in, remember what I did for you. And when you forget what I do for you, then I forget to help you. And Danny always hated it when there'd be 70 people lined up that would pay to be on the show. And technically they are. They're paying to go to the school. They're not making any money. They don't get paid to do any shows. They don't get paid any trans. They don't get a pay for the 3 matches they work that night. And they are preconditioned to think that's how the business is. Memphis was much the same way. Very few people made big money in Memphis. WWE and WCW, and then eventually Nitro, whatever WCW became. And even to a degree, TNA changed that. Now wrestlers and many of them were getting way more than they were worth, but you get what you ask for, you get what you deserve. And so many wrestlers, like he said, will work for free. There were a couple of independent programs up here in Louisville that were running shows that would have 30 wrestlers on a card. Each wrestler paid $35 to be on the card. And they kept a percentage of any, if they happen to have a t-shirt or something, they got 20% of whatever they sold. And they got all the concessions. And there it was, flat out evidence that there were 30 people in Louisville that would pay to be seen on something labeled as a professional wrestling show. And it happens to this day. I had a girl, and then I'll drop this. I had a girl who had aspirations of being in the WWE. And she once drove from Louisville to Pittsburgh for no pay, had to pay her own hotel, pay her own trans, and did not get paid to be on the show. I said, why the hell would you do that? Why would you not have any? She says, well, Arn Anderson's on that show, and I know he's affiliated with the WWE, and I want it on my resume that I worked on a show with Arn Anderson. I said, you may not even see Arn Anderson. And I said, I can assure you, you're not going to be in a match that involves him. So what does that do for your resume? But she wanted to be in the front of the eyes of Arn Anderson to think that was going to get her in the door. And it wasn't only her. There were many, many, many like that would cost themselves $150, $250, $300 to be on a show that they thought was going to open the door for bigger opportunities. Yeah. And there's hundreds and hundreds of them, probably thousands.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Bolin, if my detractors like to label me as the man who killed WCW, how come Mark Wahlberg isn't labeled as the man who killed Planet of the Apes? Is that a fair question?
Because Planet of the Apes came back bigger and stronger than ever.
It absolutely did. It absolutely did. Thank God for that.
He didn't kill it. He just smothered it for a little while.
Okay, here's the last topic, and we're going to leave on a lighter note. Very heavy show today, Mr. Bolin.
Heavy.
Very heavy. Heavy. I got a headache.
Hey, that wasn't a fat joke, was it?
All right, we're going to leave this on a lighter note. Okay, so we can enough heaviness today.
We try to keep them under an hour here on the chicken.
I was reading today, believe it or not. You guys know who William Hung is?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Gundam style, right?
Yeah. No.
Different guy.
Wait, hey, listen, Mr. Bone, what are you, racist? Just because his name is Hung, everybody was Gundam style?
His name was Well Hung. I thought he was a porno star.
William Hung was that atrocious guy that tried out for American Idol.
Oh, that guy. Okay, yes. Okay, I had my Hungs misconfused.
Yeah, who made a career because he was so awful in the auditions. He cut an album, which was fantastic. If anybody can get their hands on that CD,
now
it's fantastic.
Got my correct Asian guy.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, Mr. Hung, William Hung, is up in arms because listen to this as a shoot.
Oh, he's still talking.
Yeah, he's still talking, but listen to this as a shoot. There's a new American Idol coming out.
There is.
It's got Katy Perry, I think Luke Bryant,
25 million,
and Lionel Richie. Those are the three judges.
Lionel's getting a fraction of the Katy Perry money. I'm hurt by that.
Now they are eliminating all of the horrendous auditions. The only auditions you're going to see on the show are the good auditions. Like, was that not the best part of the show?
Yeah, that's a terrible decision. Production-wise, you know exactly that people chime in to see other people fail.
And there's already an NBC show called, it's not The Voice. There's a new show coming called The One that I think is going to be on Fox.
Yeah.
P. Diddy's in charge of this one. And that's what that show is going to focus on. We're just going to see the final 4 of each episode. They battle. We're not going to see all the crap. American Idol was built on the crap. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is no show without the crap.
The crap was the money. I mean, the crap. I don't understand. I mean, are we going to take ourselves that seriously? We're not.
Actually, there's a term in German. It's called Fremdschämen. Fremdschämen is a term for feeling ashamed for another person.
She's way too smart to be on this show.
Oh man, Maya, you're not telling me you don't think this is like one of those politically correct decisions, do you?
I don't. I actually don't know why they're doing this. I think that somebody started it. And they want to compete with it. Like somebody may have thought of it, and I don't know. I don't know if maybe it's cheaper. I'm not sure, but I know that those shows, they make money off of Fremdschämen, off of feeling embarrassed for other people. You know, you just chime in to see a terrible performance, and then you just hold your breath until you hear that terrible comment of somebody saying that was the best thing I have seen in 10 seconds.
Obviously, you're very familiar with Simon Cowell, right?
Yes.
Without bad performances and horrendous performances, and
great point, Kenny.
The same thing that he says on that was horrible. That was a disgust. I want to puke in a bag.
And the British accent. I mean, you can't do without it. It's a gimmick.
Does anybody have a razor so I can cut my throat? I mean, that is Simon's job. You've now eliminated the need for a Simon Cowell.
Think about Shark Tank. Same thing. They always say, take it behind the barn and shoot it. Without Kevin, what's his name? Mr. Wonderful. Without him, Shark Tank's not the same.
Kevin's got to be there.
You can't have a show
I don't know if you watch any Shark Tank or not, do you?
A little bit, just a little bit. Yeah.
I used to watch it a lot more, but yeah, the show is not the show without Kevin.
You got to see the terrible ideas that they have sometimes. I mean, they just bash.
Paul Orndorff is hot about that, by the way. He don't like him calling himself Mr. Wonderful. That was his gimmick way before he had it.
You can't write a show without the heels. You can't just have baby faces. No one.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Maya, I think, I'm a big Stern guy. I think that was one of the reasons he was no longer on America's Got Talent. Because, you had Howie Mandel and you had, what was it? Katie, what's her name again?
Heidi Klum.
Heidi Klum. We got the
Spice Girl.
And the Spice Girl. And they were all nicey. And, they would get to Howard and Howard would say that sucked. And nobody could freaking handle it. But
who else on there that this I think he might be more loved here than he is in England. Who's the British guy that Jeremy Clarkson hit in the mouth once? He took over for who was the CEO? Larry King. Now who am I thinking?
Pierce Bronson.
Pierce Bronson. He was
Piers Morgan. I think Pierce Bronson was James Bond.
What we do because we talked about you last night,
bro. I'm the Norm Crosby of podcasting. People haven't got that yet, bro. Because Kenny, only you and I know who Norm Crosby is.
We're the only ones. We were watching a little bit of me and Chris watched a little bit of Raw last night, and of course there's Jack Double Barrel, and Chris says there he is. Jack Double Barrel says not Vince renamed him. What did he name him? I said Machine Gun Kelly. He says, does this guy not have a real name? Not that anyone recalls. They know who Machine Gun Kelly is, and they know who Jack Double Barrel Cannon is.
Yeah. Maya, you know what the thing with all this is that bothers me, and I'm going to be honest with you, Maya, and I don't know how you're going to take this.
You're talking a lot to Maya today. Have you not
well,
noticed?
I'm taking it easy on you, Mr. Ball, and it's nice to have a woman on the show.
Thank you. Yeah. He's just saying recent events.
Maya, you know what really bothers me?
Yes.
Here's what I have. Here's where I'm having a hard time making an adjustment. Okay. Now, Maya, you got to understand, I'm going to be 57 in a couple of weeks.
Oh, happy birthday a little early.
Thank you. I got married when I was 22. I've been married for 34 years. Okay.
I've never seen your wife. Not to interrupt. I've never laid eyes on your wife. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, your new friend, Mr. Cornett. He had a lot of things to say about he had a lot of nice things to say about my wife, who he's never met. But anyway, Maya, I've been married for 34 years, never cheated on my wife, never looked at another woman. We don't argue, never came close to a divorce or any of that crap. Okay.
Congratulations.
But Maya, through it all, I can go back to when I was, oh my God, bro, I can remember I can remember, it starts with guys. Can he tell me if I'm right or not?
Now, you know what?
With guys, it starts with freaking Catwoman. Oh my God. 1966, you see Julie Newmar on TV. You're a 5-year-old guy and you're like, holy shit, I don't know why I want to watch Batman all the time. Okay. Then
listen to me here. I have two, because Catwoman was in there, but I have two that I think you can relate with.
Go ahead.
What did you think of Ellie Mae Clampett?
Oh yeah, Ellie Mae, of course.
Ellie Mae, and here's the kicker.
Go ahead.
We were all either Ginger or Marianne.
Ginger or Marianne.
What were you?
I was probably But Kenny, I mean, let's face it.
This is how you and I need to have a talk.
Kenny, as guys growing up, like that's how, like, oh my God, this girl's hot. This girl's this. I mean, Kenny, what about the women of Hee Haw?
Oh my God!
I mean, are you freaking kidding me? You know, God. I mean, then we can
Playboy models.
Then we can, I mean, then we graduate.
Enhanced it, and that's why he liked them.
No, I just can't.
That was a different flavor.
That comes with meth.
That was a different flavor that Vince didn't see, and I guarantee you, he said, "As gorgeous as she is, that dumb broad will do anything I ask her to do."
Who's that? Who's that?
The girls with the Southern accents back in the 60s.
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking.
Assumed they were stupid because they spoke with a Southern accent.
I can't do a stupid woman.
But then of course. But it was the whole thing. I mean, it was Suzanne Summers in Three's Company. It was it was
dumb blonde. Played the dumb blonde.
Yeah, I Dream of Jeannie. I mean, we could go on and on.
Oh God, no one loved Barbara Eaton's more than I did. Yeah. Oh my God, adored her.
So like you see these images, and like for somebody like me, never cheated on my wife, nothing. It's like, oh my God, that's a beautiful woman. She's got
herself with you and Noel.
No, come on. Listen, can I get to my point, Mr.
Ball? He's finished.
Am I giving the short rib?
I gave her one.
So my whole life, oh my God, I was in love with Victoria Principal on Dallas.
Oh my
I'm
there.
The whole oh my God, that's a beautiful woman. She has a beautiful body. I swear to you, Maya, my right hand to God, when I looked at beautiful women like this and I admired their beauty and I admire their body, there were never what are those illicit thoughts? Is that the right word?
Yeah, like inappropriate thoughts.
I was not thinking, oh my God, if I could do this to that girl. And Maya, let's face it, like I've worked with beautiful women. Oh my God,
Vance, we are two different people.
I'm sorry, but you're a rare kind.
I never did.
I had all
those thoughts, but Maya, I was married. Maya, I worked with Sable and Sonny and Mickey James. I mean, the list goes on and on.
I believe you.
I'll show you Sable and Sonny later.
I don't know.
But here's my problem now. So like, listen,
you're a rare breed.
I love Maya. I think Rihanna is the total package. Like I'm head over heels for Rihanna.
Rihanna.
But now it's like when I see an attractive girl with a beautiful, God-given body or whatever, like I'm afraid to say that now. Like if I say a girl is hot, I'm committing a crime. But Maya, on the same token, when I see a guy, a wrestler, you know, that's got the 8-pack and the whole 9 yards, I'll say the same thing. Like, you know, I'm pretty good friends with Stevie Richards, and like every time I see Stevie, I go gaga over the way at his age he's put together.
But do you have illicit thoughts about Stevie?
I've never had an illicit thought about Stevie.
Private. There's a difference between saying this woman is beautiful or this woman is hot and saying stuff like, I would like to do this to her. And there's a difference, you know? And also there's a difference in vocabulary. Saying that somebody is beautiful or hot, I can accept that.
A paragon of sartorial pulchritude.
Yeah, that's fine too, whatever. You cannot say
smarter than
things that... Or rather, you cannot comment on more private parts of their body. You know what I mean?
That's where you draw the line, I think. You can't do that.
Because
I tell girls they're pretty every single day.
Because
but you can't
women do this too. It does hurt when you meet somebody and the only thing they notice about you is your genitalia. I'm not here for my looks. I mean, on the show, of course I am, because look at Kenny. But on Earth,
Can you give her a shot to the short ribs? All right, go ahead, Mike. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
Sell, George, sell.
A lot of people don't take other people seriously based on their personality, but rather based on their looks. And it feels like you're not being heard a lot of times. But I don't see anything wrong with saying that somebody's attractive. But I do agree with you. If you're going to say that certain women are attractive, you need to have the guts to say the same about men. A lot of men feel like, oh, I don't see attractive men. That's crap. That's sorry.
Crap. Hey, Maya, I say this all the time, and I'm not joking. I swear to God, this is why I get so upset when, oh my God, we can't put women in bikinis anymore and all that. Maya, I say this all the time. If I had a freaking body, I would never wear a freaking shirt. I'm telling you.
You and I both wear tank tops.
Yeah.
I definitely, well, not tank top, but sleeveless shirts. I am reminded every day that I wear one. I should not do that. You wear tank tops. You got way more of a right to do it than I do.
Yeah, but Kenny, I swear to God, if I had that 6-pack in the whole, I would do this show without a shirt.
Well, I'm glad you don't have a 6-pack.
I have to actually add to that that's a pretty American idea. In Brazil, for example, it's completely normal for men and women to be shirtless in the summer. For example, like at home, because, you know, it's hot and you have the fan running, or you just even walk into the beach or whatever. Of course, it's not okay at work.
Yeah, in case you didn't know, she was born in Brazil.
Yes, right. And you know, you're walking at the beach, whether you're in the water or not, you can walk around shirtless if you want. Who's gonna give a crap, you know? And this is for women and men alike. The difference where I see it is that, to quote Dion Cole, that's his name, a comedian on Netflix.
I thought you were going to say Dionne Warwick and break into Do You Know the Way to San Jose?
Deion Sanders and totally blow me away.
But go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Actually, you're never going to see a gray-haired anchor woman, and that's true. If you ever turn on a new TV, the men are able to be overweight, they are able to be balding, they're able to wear very little makeup, whereas the women have to have perfect hair, perfect teeth, have to be skinny, wear dresses all the time. There is a difference, and this is also an American, actually not an American idea, because I see it in Latin America as well, but in Germany, for example, our news anchors are political science majors usually. So those people, they're not chosen by their body or their looks. And personally, I am shocked sometimes when I turn on German TV and I see the news, because I'm so used to American news. Mm-hmm. And the people are hideous, and it's wonderful.
Vince, I want your comment on this, because one thing I noticed the other day, and I recorded all 4 of the major networks who have late night news. The networks, not the ones that are dedicated to news, but have the late night news on at night. And I recorded them all, and I played little snippets for Maya on each one. And I said, what did you notice there, Maya? What did you see? Because as you know, I have a deep affection for Asian women. Always have. And so I'm watching the news, and I noticed that the co-host on every single news show was an attractive Asian woman. And so apparently more people have the affliction that I have, that they think Asian women, they're there because they're pretty. Mm-hmm. They're not there because of how smart they are. Now, many of them are smart. Weijia Jiang, I think, is just as smart and as beautiful as any woman I've ever seen. A lady on NBC's name escapes me right now. Very beautiful, very smart. But they are there because they're pretty. I don't think they're there because of their brains. And the men, as you've seen, we can look like whatever, and we get the jobs. Wolf Blitzer's not on CNN because he's handsome.
Yeah.
I mean, compare Megyn Kelly and Bill O'Reilly.
That's two different
one of those
worlds.
people is above a 5, the other is not.
And the other one's below a 2.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying, and I think
Sorry, Bill.
personally I would not have noticed this if I hadn't started watching German news again. Our news anchors are pardon my French, they're the shits. They're hideous. And it's fantastic because you pay attention to the news. You're there to listen to the content, not to look at women. And I know this from experience that certain men turn on TV and say, wow, that news anchor is gorgeous. And they just pay attention to the looks of the women because they have a brain of a 6-year-old.
Wow, that sounded like a shot.
We wanted to end this less heavy, didn't we?
This will be Maya's last appearance on Bucket.
All right, listen, Maya, Kenny, anything you want to bring to the table before we go? I know, like, obviously you haven't, had the chance to think about this, this week, but anything either one of you'd like to bring to the table?
Well, I made a comment during the Golden Globes because I love the Golden Globes because that's where everybody's drunk, everybody's freelanced. As a matter of fact, Seth Meyers walked out in his opening line. I would like to thank all the women that are here today and all the men who are left. Meaning we've weeded out a lot of men.
Right.
And I made the comment during the show. I said, I wonder if there's anybody in that room tonight that within the next 7 days is going to be brought up on sexual harassment charges. Maya, what was the news I read to you today?
James Franco.
No, really?
Franco.
Boy.
I knew the name, but I didn't realize he was the Spider-Man guy.
Yeah, James Franco.
He was Spider-Man's best friend.
No, and that was Sunday. This is what we record this. Do we admit what day we record this, or we do these live?
No, we admit when we record them.
We record these Wednesday morning, very early, even earlier for Vince. I'm working with him on that. We're going to change that to something like noonish. But James Franco, just 3 days later. 3 days later, somebody.
You know who I was reading about yesterday? Oh man, this is hard too. The guy's 95 years old, and let me tell you why. And not that I'm saying, bro, it's okay, whatever you're accused of, if you're guilty. Not that I'm saying that, but guys, let's face it. When you're 95 years old and you're hit with something like this, I mean, it could kill you. I mean, truthfully, you might not have the stamina at 95 years old to deal with it. I was just reading.
You heard my blood pressure when I got the news about
my God.
mom.
Yeah, yes.
You made me get off the phone and go lay down.
Right, 95 years old, Kenny. Can you imagine? But I was just reading yesterday, Stan Lee.
Oh, no, I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, 95 years old, and I'm like, my God, the guy's 95, man.
I haven't even heard it.
Yeah, it's out there. Stan Lee from Marvel Comics.
Okay, all right.
Did they say when it happened?
No, they didn't say, but they just said like he's being accused of it, and I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine being 95 and like, how
do you feel about the time limit? Because boy, let's say somebody says that 40 years ago Kenny Bowen did such and such.
Well, actually, I can compare that to a case that I find pretty interesting. After the Nazis in Germany were, weeded out, the Americans took a lot of former Nazis to court, and there was a case in the 60s of it was very recent.
Yeah, I saw that.
Of a man who was accused of, I don't even remember, collaborating with the Nazis.
He was
in his 90s.
In his 90s.
He was in his 90s, and the question was, do you incarcerate him or not? And to me, there was a lot of question about this after the 60s. Do you incarcerate these people at all? Because at the time of their actions were legal. And in the German law, it states that you cannot punish somebody for an action if the action was committed at the time that the action was legal. Now, this is the same question. If Stan Lee did this 40 years ago, that was a time where this was acceptable and nobody really knew. You can't really blame him for that. I just don't feel it's fair, but I don't know the information. I'm not going to say that. It could have been last week.
One thing I feel strongly about, and if Vince has seen any of the old war movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s that show where soldiers went in and violated especially Vietnam, to me, that is absolutely a war crime. When you're killing innocent citizens and you're raping women, that needs to be processed and dealt with in the strongest sense. But when I hear war crimes, and we're basically sending an average age of 19-year-old men overseas to kill people, regardless of their religious beliefs, where's the war crime? I mean, to me, I don't know how we train our 19-year-old kids to go kill people when a lot of times they're over there killing people and they don't even know why they're doing it. they're wearing red and we're wearing blue, so we got to kill those guys wearing red.
Mr. Bolin, how did we go from 95-year-old Stan Lee to down the rabbit hole you again? Listen, I want both of you to do me a favor. When this show ends, okay? Listen, I want you to go on the YouTube.
That off quickly.
I want you to go on the YouTube, the worldwide interweb, Mr. Bolin.
We both have it.
I want the both of you to look to YouTube Norm Crosby. Okay, the old comedian Norm Crosby. Okay, then after you watch
the Hollywood Squares, by the way.
Yeah, after you watch Norm Crosby, I want you to look at each other and realize, hey, that's Vince. We can't get too deep on his show because he's a simpleton. All right, both of you guys.
Well, Vince, you and I both do that, but Crosby was a 4-year college graduate. You and I are storming through 9th grade. Crosby was
I agree
with me there. He was that good.
All right, Mr. Bolin.
On purpose. He did it on purpose.
He did do it on purpose. Mr. Bolin, now we have to sell some product. I mean, is there new product? What's out there? Tell me what's going on.
Well, there is one new product that I don't think you've seen yet. Maya, do you mind modeling that
of
there
course.
real quick?
Give me just 1 second.
There you go.
I love Maya's hair, by the way.
Love this. There you go. The new first time ever BS logo classic hat.
Sorry.
We've never had hats before, period. I didn't, for whatever reason, I was turning a blind eye to my market and not realizing that these hats would sell. So then they said, well, hey, how about the BS logo hat? We went ahead and got that done. The good folks at Collar and Elbow. Are they still a sponsor with us, Vince?
You know, I'm trying to. Can you tell? Hey, listen, Rod Hicks, will you get back to me, please?
Yeah, Rod.
Rod, get back to me, man. I emailed Rod. I'm waiting to hear back from Rod. I don't hear anything from Rod, so I don't know.
Well, Rod delivers caskets in his real job. And I want you to know that since the word came out about my mom, no free casket. None.
Unbelievable.
That was cold. I know, but I'm trying to laugh. Didn't get one. So, yeah, we have the new BS Classic hat. What else we got laying over there? Oh, you know what? Let's plug our good friend up in New York, Rome, New York. I have a history for not getting along with New Yorkers. I've lost a lot of jobs because of New Yorkers.
No offense.
No offense. And I wasn't even sure I had this one. But plug my good friend up here at Dippin' Donuts. He donated heavily to my mom's funeral fund, sells the donuts up there. Of course, I plugged the heck out of him. He sent us the mugs and a batch of donuts down here like 3 times now. Great guy, great donuts.
They're giant donuts and they're jelly filled, and they have really, really good donut holes. Coconut filled. They're
jelly filled holes. God.
The first time we plugged them, they sold out the next.
You know who eats there?
They are.
You know who eats there? Ben Hameen, your new host, the guy you fired me for. And hired
really Dippin' Donuts, huh?
The guy you canned me for, Ben Hameen, eats at Dippin' Donuts. How about that? You got rid of me, the Southern boy, and you hired a New Yorker and slid him right in, and he eats my.
And now I'm getting all kinds of heat because people are emailing me that he's letting Islamic things, like he's saying that they're saying that he's sending messages to the Isle of Islam, whatever it is, and I'm too stupid to even know it. They're telling me. I swear to God, Kenny. I swear to God.
He's been doing that gimmick since OVW.
They're telling me, oh, Fitz, you're an idiot. You're a moron. He's sending codes to the Islamic Nation. Like, how can you? I'm like, oh, it's a wrestling show, for crying out loud.
Can't Sweet Stevie super kick him and knock all that out of him?
I can never win, Mr. Bolin. I can never win, bro.
If you're getting that, you can't win. You just. People are stupid. I'm just going to end the show on that. People are stupid.
Oh, my God. They're sending me emails and this and that. And, you know, he said the word COVID yesterday. I had to bleep it.
Did he call you an infidel?
An infidel. Oh, yeah. Vince, he's calling you an infidel. Do you not even realize what he's doing? I'm like, are you like freaking kidding me?
Ben and myself were in cohorts on OVW television. I always bragged that he would have me into the compound and get me 27 cents a gallon gas when the rest of you are paying $4.50 a gallon. And then he got so much heat over that because people really thought I was going somewhere where he was, filling my Cadillac up with 27 cents a gallon gas. But we had one day to where I didn't like what he did, and I called him out on it on television, and he come over and he called me an infidel. That was the greatest day of my life.
God.
I mean, called me an infidel. This is great.
Hey, Amaya and Kenny, what about your social media? If you want people to contact you, where do they go?
Go ahead, Doodle.
Oh yeah. He is on Twitter and what is it, Starmaker Bolin or something?
Don't know yet.
I have done this like a million times and I keep forgetting.
It's at Starmaker Bolin.
And Starmaker Bolin.
Yeah.
Facebook /Starmaker Bolin. His
Yeah.
Instagram is something else.
You made it. I don't know.
I think it's Starmaker Bolin too.
It is Starmaker Bolin.
His Snapchat is Starmaker Bolin.
It is that.
And I am at the Maya Doodle on Instagram, Twitter.
Go ahead and plug Chris for me. He needs the help.
Chris on there too.
All right. And also,
dig for it.
Also, I'd like to thank everybody who has helped out with Mom's funeral fund. Needless to say, funerals are expensive, but you have been a huge help. So anybody who wants to continue the help, that's greatly
Chris, you
appreciated.
Plug yourself?
That's greatly. There's Chris. Has been greatly appreciated. Chris is looking a little sad today, and he needs his hat. And if any of y'all want to get my merchandise, we're going to donate 100% of any merchandise purchases as well. That's another way to give back to my mom. We're going to do that for the next couple of months. Anything I buy goes straight to her funeral fund because we need it. And but thank you much. The support has been off the charts. So if you want to help in any way, I had one guy Vince sent $1.75. And I said, well, I'll come within an inch sending it back to him. I said, well, you bound to need this more than I do. But I didn't. I thought that'd be cold. And
now Kenny, is
donations as big as $500. And that was
where do they donate to? Where do they go?
They donate to my PayPal account, which is Kenny Bolin at msn.com. And on both Twitter and Facebook, my sister set up a donation page. It hadn't raised a whole lot. It's raised, I think, $400 out of 4,000 because she wanted to know how much more we needed to get to where we needed to be. And I said, well, you cover that and I'll cover this. And so not a lot has gone on there, but, times are tough. And hey, guys, if you can help, it's appreciated. And if you can't, I certainly understand. You don't have to write me and tell me the disasters you're going through because we all got stuff we're dealing with. And also, I certainly understand.
And also, Mr. Bolin, I know you realize, and I do want to say this, how lucky you are to have somebody like Maya.
Really?
Yeah. But Maya, you have to know, listen, next time you come on the show, just tell yourself, I got to dumb myself down. You can't come on this show and make me look like an idiot on my own show. You understand? We understand, Maya.
Vince and I would still be going, but we're sitting here looking like fools, and we got to end this thing. We can't.
Well, you're gonna have to give me my own show, I guess. I'm kidding. I really don't want it.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, I
will totally settle for like an internship at a law firm.
All right, there you go, everybody. The great star maker Kenny Bolin, the lovely Maya. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Also, remember, listen, and again, I'm going to give a short plug. You can see these shows on the Realm Network. You could see them. So you have the option of listening on Podcast One or seeing them on the Realm Network. You also get Castrating the Marks exclusively on Realm. And it's less than $1 a week. It's $3.95 a month. You get all the shows on video a day early. Just go to russosbrand.com. The reason why I'm saying that, Maya, is I'm really taken back with the beautiful hair you have, and I wish people could see what I'm seeing.
Well, they should tune in. And also, I want to, where was I going with this? When you comment on the show, if you comment on Twitter, Facebook, what you thought of the show today, I want the hashtag #DumbItDownDoodle.
Very nice. Dumb it down. I love that. I love that. I own the right to that. Me, that's mine.
I'm so guilty now.
I gave you bowl in 2020. I want Dumb It Down Doodle.
Dumb It Down Doodle. There you go.
All right, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.